Hello, everyone. How are you feeling today? So, I am Sitaraman Raghavasubramanian, trusted partner in your learning journey. So, today being the weekend, so you would have had slow mornings, a brunch. Thank you very much for joining me in your learning journey and to watch this video. So, today I want to talk to you on the art of storytelling, which is a key competency for the new age leadership and the first time managers. Now, tell me, what do we remember when it comes to storytelling? So, of course, we all remember our grandma, those beautiful nights wherein which we used to sit or sleep in her lap, and the beautiful narration of the stories coming up. Then, in our schools, our teachers used to tell us wonderful stories of the Mughal emperors, the freedom struggle, regarding Chhatrapati Shivaji, etc. And what did we really understand from those storytellings? Of course, so we were really keen to learn or reminisce our little mischief when we did as a toddler or the first day at my school, how I hesitated getting into the school, started weeping, crying, etc., or my first travel experiences. We all know the stories about Sindbad, where there was an exciting description of the city of Baghdad, the Gulliver's Travels, where the Lemuel Gulliver used to undergo the kind of struggles, the characters he made, and the narration was something phenomenal, isn't it? Then we know Harry Potter, wonderful stories. And we all would have watched magnum opus cinemas like the Ben Hur, Ten Commandments, Cleopatra. What was unique in all these things? The narration, the storytelling, which was fascinating, right? We remember these stories even today, right? Why? Because stories stick. Now, let's understand why storytelling is an important competency for the first time managers and the new age leaders. So, of course, seasonal leaders as well. Let us pick up the top 5 items for the first time managers. It helps you to build trust quickly. Teams do not just follow instructions, they follow people they trust. A story from your own journey makes you really relatable. So, that is helping a first time manager to create a bond with the team members. What is the next one? It simplifies the complex messages. Instead of jargon filled explanations for long hours, stories help make strategies and expectations easy to grasp. It creates emotional connection. Sharing a personal learning or a failure makes the first-time manager very human and approachable and not just as a boss. Influences without authority. As a new manager, you do not always have to be showing your positional power. Stories help you to inspire and influence the behavior. Very important. Boosts team morale. A well-timed success story can energize, inspire, especially during the stress or during the uncertainty. What is in store for the new age leaders? It shapes the culture. Leader stories about values like integrity, resilience, and innovation become the guiding principles for the teams, the leading lights. Stories help driving changes. People resist change if told what to do, but when shown a relatable story of transformation, they immediately try to embrace it. Isn't it? It builds inclusive leadership. Stories help leaders connect across generations, across cultures, and across the geographies. And finally, authenticity and vulnerability. In the dynamic age of artificial intelligence and data science, what sets the leaders apart is their human touch. So, the best way to convey your human touch is stories. Let us try to understand what are all the frameworks, what are all the delivery techniques which make the storytelling an art. So I have picked up the frameworks which are close to my heart, and I'll explain those techniques with my personal story. Framework number one, the SCQA, the situation, complication, question, and answer framework. This is great for business and leadership storytelling. The next technique is the five senses technique, bringing a story alive through sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. What is the final one? The hero journey. Character faces challenges, struggles, transforms, and returns with wisdom and success. Let us look at one by one. So, what is my personal experience? So, in my locality, we had a park which was flourishing like anything some time back. In between, there were urbanization happening. So, quite a number of trees were cut. We started feeling the heat. Our children did not get a playground to play. So, we decided to restore the park. Now, I'm going to use SCQA technique to narrate you the restoring park story. What is the situation? In our locality, where there are 60 plus families living, summers are getting hotter and touch 100-degree plus. The green cover is shrinking. Residents feel that the change, but continue with their routines, assuming someone else will fix it. What is the complication here? The local park, spanning a square kilometer, once filled with shade and children in good numbers playing, had lost around 50 plus of its trees due to urbanization. The space looked barren and the people stopped visiting. Residents wanted the park back, but we did not know where to start and how to start and when to start. Now, the question: how could the community come together, restore greenery, and bring the life back into the park, restoring the last 50 plus trees? What is the answer? A group of volunteers, including me, organized a weekend tree planting drive. Neighbors, families, school children, and of course the senior citizens joined hands together. Within us, the park had 200 saplings planted. More than trees, what grew that day was a sense of ownership, pride, and the connection. Today, the park is slowly transforming, not just into a green space, but into a hub of community bonding. So, what is the takeaway from this SCQA narration? What was the situation? Climate and shrinking greenery. What is the complication? The park losing trees and life. What is the question to be answered? How do we restore it? What is the answer? A collective community effort. Now, let me narrate the same story with the five senses technique. Five senses includes the sight, the sound, what we hear, the smell, the touch, and what we taste. Now, let me narrate the story. Sight. The park once looked barren, brown dust rising with every step, broken benches, and children playing on empty ground without shade. On the day of the drive, the sight changed. Rows of bright green saplings, smiling faces, and families working shoulder to shoulder. Let's move on to the sound. At first, there was silence in the park, broken only by traffic outside. During the event, laughter, shouts of children carrying water buckets, and the rhythmic sound of spades hitting the soil filled the air. It was the sound of a life returning. Now, what did we smell? The dusty smell of dry earth slowly gave way to the fresh scent of wet mud as volunteers watered each sapling. The fragrance of hope rose with every splash. Then comes the touch. Hands that were usually on laptops and phones now touch the soil, use the spades. Muddy palms became symbols of collective effort. Children proudly patted on the soil around their own trees. Finally, taste. At the end, families shared home-cooked snacks, samosas, orange juice, and lemonade. The taste was simple, but it carried a sweetness beyond food. What was it? The flavor of community pride and shared achievement. Amazing narration, isn't it, friends? What is the takeaway? Through the five senses, the tree planting drive was not just an event, it became an experience. People didn't just plant trees, they planted the belonging, the ownership, and hope. Let's go to the next technique, hero's journey. The ordinary world. The park was once full of trees, shade, and children's laughter. Over time, as urban expansion cut down trees, it turned into a barren, dusty ground. People stopped coming and the park became lifeless. What is the call to adventure? A few residents, saddened by the park's decline, including me, felt we couldn't let it disappear. We dreamed of bringing the greenery back. What was the refusal of the call? At the first instance, doubt set in. So it's a square kilometer park. So it is too big a task because we have our own activities to be done, to be prioritized. Will people even join? That was another question. Many thought it was easier to leave the park as it was. What does the next action happen? Meeting the mentors and allies. We spoke to an environmental NGO, and the enthusiastic school children stepped forward. All our energy inspired the hesitant residents to believe that the change was possible. Crossing the threshold, the day of the tree planting arrived. Families gathered with tools, saplings, and water buckets and food. The park became the stage of all the collective action. What were the test struggles and unity? The sun was hot, water was scarce, and planting was tiring. But we neighbors helped each other. Children encouraged parents, and strangers became teammates. What was the transformation? By the evening, 200 saplings stood proudly in the soil. The barren land looked alive again. The park wasn't just green, it was filled with laughter, connection, and pride. What was the return with the reward, friends? The community returned home with muddy hands, tired bodies, but with glowing hearts. Their reward was not just trees in the ground, but a renewed bond with each other and also with nature, which I myself experienced. What is the takeaway from the hero's journey narration? Every community can be the hero. The challenge, which was earlier barren park, becomes a call to action. The reward is not only solving the problem, but transformation of people and, very important, relationships. So, what did we get? Eventually, along with me, you also became part of the team which were involved in restoration of the park. That is the art of storytelling. Now, let us understand what are the delivery techniques. You should have the hook first. Start with the surprising fact, a question, or a vivid image. Pause for effect. Silence after a powerful line, which is often a mic drop moment. Vocal variety. Change the pace of the voice, tone, and volume to emphasize emotions. What were all the emotions? People were reluctant, and people were hardworking, then people were emotional, there was bonding, there was fun, frolic, etc. Body language, gestures and expressions reinforce the story's message. Metaphors and analogies simplify the complexity through familiar comparisons. That is why I chose my personal involvement in this story. Now, what is engagement? We have to ask reflective questions. We have to relate the characters. Who was the dreamer? Who was the challenger? Who guided? And finally, very important, close with the call to action, CTA. What should the audience think, feel, or do differently? Let me put a quick storytelling formula. First is the hook, next is the context, third is the conflict, fourth is the resolution, and finally a takeaway. Let me give another example from my own personal experience. What is the hook? When I got promoted as a manager from the individual contributor, so you are setting the tone there. What is the context? Set the stage. What was I supposed to do? Lead diverse teams. Had to show results. What was the conflict I faced? Share the challenge and barrier. In my case, I had a fresher team completely, but highly motivated. Resolution, show the breakthrough. I had to give direction, lot of mentoring and motivation for the team. What is the takeaway? That is when I learned leadership is about resilience and not only titles. Great storytellers do not just tell stories, they make the audience see themselves in the story. This is what it has happened, no, with you all. You all joined me in planting the saplings, cleaning the garden, and bringing back the life. And what is the impact? Very important. Facts tell people what to think. Stories show people why it matters. And the best leaders help the teams feel the purpose. Exciting, isn't it? Now we have come to reflection. What is our call to action? What do you think? Why storytelling is the first time manager's superpower? Please reflect. And finally, my bumper sticker. Facts inform, stories transform. So I'm Sitaraman Raghavasubramanian, trusted partner in your learning journey. So we have a structured transformation path for the first-time managers and new age leadership. Keep learning, keep enjoying your day. Thank you.